Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Immersive Engineering. Today I'll be covering the alloy kiln, fluid router, and fluid outlet. So to start off with, we're going to go with the alloy kiln. Those other things were insubstantial at this point. We'll get to those. Now, the alloy kiln is intended for early game alloy making. And by early game, it's a multi-block structure that's just 2 by 2 by 2. Actually, I just picked up an item here, but allow me to demonstrate how to make it. These blocks here, kiln bricks, which you can also make kiln brick slabs, but kiln bricks are made with just bricks and some sandstone of some sort or some kind. And of course, sandstone is just made with, just 4 of any kind of sand or of the same kind of sand. But you basically just put them all like this, just a 2 by 2 by 2 cube. Take your hammer, right click, and there you go. You've got an alloy kiln. I'm just going to get rid of this version here. We don't need that, but we already have one here. And as you can see, these are dropping conveyor belts. They will insert into inventories below them. The reason that I have these set up is to demonstrate that it does not have anything drop into it. I also have conveyors going into the side. You can put them on the back, you can put them on the front, you can put them underneath, whatever. They're not going to insert into it, and they're not going to output from it. So keep that in mind, that this is manual, early game stuff. But it is alloying nonetheless. You can see that these gold, ores are being pushed into it. And yes, you can feasibly, let me grab these items here. You can feasibly put these in there, but these are not going to do anything, even if you put fuel inside. Reason being is it's intended to alloy things that you already have smelted at least once in some way, or another. Allow me to demonstrate. Constantan grit, right? It is made from a combination of nickel grit and copper grit. In order to make grits, at least in this mod, you'll need to take the ore plus an engineer's hammer in a crafting grid, and you'll get those grits. Now you combine those two together and you'll get a Constantan grit, and then you can alloy, and then you can smelt that up in a furnace and get a Constantan ingot. Now in this case, you can take either copper grit, nickel grit, or copper ingot, nickel ingot, combine them together, and you will get either of those in this alloy kiln. So you don't have to, go with the methods before with the hammer. Now this works with some other mods as well. So if you have some alloys that require 2 items, you should be able to use it to make some basic alloys. So like electrum is another example, silver and gold, for instance. So allow me to actually take some copper and nickel. We'll put them, actually, let's grab these together as well. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of my inventory to make some Constantan, right? So I'll put these in here, put in a copper and a nickel ingot, copper grit and nickel ingot. We're going to put the sticks in here, and you can see the sticks work just like they would in a furnace. So you don't have to use coal coke either. So this you could feasibly make before you even make any kind of coal coke oven. And of course you see you're getting 2 ingots from that. So it's pretty, convenient like that. You can also put in a block, other methods of fuel like a block of coal coke. I just put in, that's going to last quite a long time. Now the advantage of this is that it's similar to a blast furnace or, other item where it will actually hold its charge. Now once again, I'm going to put these in here. You can see nothing's happening. I'm just demonstrating that you will need some kind of pre-processing before your items will be available, whether it be using a hammer or smelting them up in some way, shape, or form. And of course, put in gold and a silver ingot. You can see that this is going to create yourself some electrum. It's not exactly a fast method, but it is basic and it is easy to work with. There you go, 2 ingots of electrum. So you get a 1-to-1 ratio for the amount of materials used. And of course, it stores its charge, which is very useful. Now, let's move on to the fluids. I have a little setup over here for the fluids, and I have in a metal barrel, if you look here, I have water, about 7 buckets or 7,000 millibuckets, and I've got lava, about 7,000 millibuckets. Now I also have a bunch of pipes hooked up, which I disconnected under here for the reasons of this demonstration, so that I can reconnect them at will and show you what's going on. We have a fluid router. Let me empty these things out here. Fluid router is very similar to an item router, which I've covered in the past. In fact, it's almost identical. It just handles fluids. Recipe for it is going to be some treated wood planks, redstone, iron ingot, fluid pipe, and iron mechanical component, etc. You place this thing down, you're going to have a whole bunch of sides on it that are different colors. They represent the different directions. If I'm looking south right now, then that is actually representing the blue side. So if I click on here, you can see S is south. And here you've got B and T, so you're thinking, all right, well, north, west, south, east, not a problem, right? B is for bottom, T is for top. And of course, you can also filter by NBT data or not, so that it can, filter those out. But that's just kind of a copy from the item filter options. Of course, the item one would have even further filtering, but it's just fluids. You're not going to have much more than NBT data on this. So that is the purpose of this, is to filter fluids out. But I'm going to just show you how it's actually used. Now, as I said before, I've got water and lava. I've got a couple of these areas here that are just like a 2x2x2 space with one of these inserted into it with a fluid outlet. Now, I will demonstrate the router and the outlet at the same time. So let me place down an outlet first. Now, an outlet, if you see here, has a bunch of grills on the different sides. And when you first place it down, it also has an input on the top. Now, if I stack these up, break them, you can see on the bottom it has more grill sides to it. You can actually change it to be as you want on any side. Now, when I right-click with the hammer, it will actually turn this fluid outlet closed. I did forget to mention that the recipe for this is very simply just some iron plates and iron bars to make yourself one of these. And you can right-click again. It will turn it into an input, and again, we'll turn it into an open, grate, which water will be flowing out of this. So keep that, well, not necessarily water, fluids will be flowing out of this. So this means it's closed, so you can't see through it anymore. Even though if I'm on the other side, I can see through the entire block. It's just intended for ease of interpretation, and I absolutely love how it's working. So right now, I currently have an input on the top, and all the sides are closed. What will happen if I fill fluids into this, which if I try bucketing into this, it's just going to pour on top. You cannot just bucket into an outlet. You have to have it piped in some way. So if I do get something piped into this, let's say I grab myself a piece of pipe and I get myself a bit of water barrel here that is full. If I press shift, you can see here that in the top left corner, I currently have a program called the One Probe, or a mod called the One Probe. Go ahead and check it out too. It is telling me that I have 4 buckets of water in this thing. So I'm not interested in actually opening that out here because that's going to make a really big mess. But if you look over here, I have an area that I can demonstrate this. So right now I have these grates are open. Whether or not the bottom is open, there you go, the bottom is currently closed. I can easily change the sides of this to be open and closed as I want, same as I can with the barrel or other items. If I shift right click, that should change it to its next facing. You now see it's an input. And if I shift right click again, it is going to be open. So you can see, there we go. It is now open on the bottom. And therefore you can control the opposite faces of these tanks or the fluid outlets, just the same as you can with most of the other immersive engineering items. Now on top of that, you can also turn let's actually grab one of these. I don't remember if I set it down. Yeah, that starts being off. You can turn the fluid outlets on and off with a lever. In this case, I'm going to turn this one on so that doesn't actually flow. But you'll see that as I start opening this up a little bit, there we go, and I'm putting that down, it is actually dropping water buckets down here. Let me reconnect this. And you can see it's going to start filling 1 bucket at a time. Now water, of course, in its default mode, will spread and actually fill itself across. So you may end up having some left over sometimes if you're filling water, because it might start like populating itself when you've got like to give an example, 1 bucket here and 1 bucket here. You see that it created a 3rd bucket in the center. Well, with lava, it just doesn't do that, but water it will. So on occasion, water might fill itself. Now, those 7 buckets filled in the 7 spaces. Very simple. Now, you can fill in much larger spaces, but I recommend that you have, whoops, I just got picked up by a conveyor belt. I recommend that you have it set up so that you have all the necessary liquids at once, because if you stop halfway through, it might not fill as you're hoping it would. And you might have to refill all the fluids again. Now these do not backport, and you can see right now this is currently off, but I can close this. All the sides are closed. If I go out here, you can see that the bottom is currently open. Now the difference is that these fluid outlets are not actually going to flow water or other fluids any higher than they are placed. So if I place one here, I could have a water bucket like right on the side of it, but it won't ever output above it, even if you make it so that it is open. So keep that in mind. It's just for visual sake. If you want, you can have it so that it looks really cool like this. You can use it as a decorative item, but for now I'm going to keep it closed just for, so people don't get confused. Now, you notice that the water went off to the left, and this is currently off. I can open the side, nothing's coming out. So if I add another bucket of water, what happens? Water goes down, and it's going to be in this side. Reason for that, if I actually land here, press shift, you can see there's a couple buckets in there. Yeah, it actually did produce it created an extra bucket over there. But the reason it didn't go over here instead is because of the filter setup with the fluid router. Now in here, I took a bucket of water. You can see here that, it tells it that you just want water to go through here. You don't want lava. This one here, you can make it lava. You don't have to do all of them, but you can do that if you want it to be very clear to yourself that, yep, on the west side, it's going to be that way. And if you can't remember what side it is, and you can't really see, is that actually a tinge of green I'm seeing underneath? Just take your hammer to the fluid pipe, and you can see it. Then you can put it back again. So you just right click there. It's very simple to find that. And then you see green, and you can figure out that that is the west side. So if you're having problems figuring out which side is the west side, then you know that you can easily at least identify it by its color style. And I believe these were made so that they are also applicable for those that are colorblind. So you should be able to tell. I'm not 100% on that. Don't quote me because I am not colorblind. But that should be good for you, and therefore you can see that the yellow side over here is going to be for water, which is east, and you can always have the fluid routers push up or down if you want, unlike the outlets over here. Now, I currently have a spot here on the side that is open, so let me close that, go down here, and you can see the bottom is open. So let's connect this, and actually, is that off? There we go. Let's lock that. Connect that. The lava then is going to go down, and you can see it is filling in the fluid outlet. If you look on the top left there, it says that there's 4 buckets of lava in the fluid outlet. But it's not going anywhere because one, the sides are currently closed. The bottom is open, but the sides are closed. But the lever says that it's off. If I turn that on, it starts filling the lava down. And if you remember, around you, and it will fill up to its height. So even though it's the sides are closed on this one, it's still going to fill up to its height. So you got to be careful when you place this thing that it will still fill up to its height and fill a pool. Now that was just a demonstration of how that will actually work. There's none left in there. It's 0 buckets, and I believe 0 buckets in there as well. I have one last area here that you can see. I have a lot of lava filled in a lot of these barrels. You can see that there's like lots of lava. All these barrels are filled with lava, all into a pipe that's all connected to one fluid outlet. And you can see for yourself that it will kind of fill the space. And that's pretty much it for this. I currently have a lot of stuff in the area, and you'll see that it places the lava in a smart fashion. So it won't place the lava on top of a lava block and eliminate it. So I guess that's about it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video bit by bit on immersive engineering. If so, please be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, don't be afraid to spread the mischief to others if you think they'll enjoy this mischief content too. And until next time, folks, I'll see ya.